Welcome back to Add an Accent Coaching. My name is Allison. We are going to be working on the A vowel today, the ash vowel it's called. And it's just like the joined A and the E joined together, like kind of when you see in Latin, when you see like fauna, it's like that kind of. So this ash vowel, this symbol, this IPA symbol, represents a low front, unrounded vowel. So low is the positioning of your tongue, front is the frontness or backness of your tongue, and rounding is whether or not you're rounding your lips. So all of these dimensions can change the vowel. So let's see what this vowel sounds like. So laugh, cat, plaid, back, bag. Wait, did I just say bag? Didn't I just say back? How come when I say bag, the vowel is distorting and becoming a diphthong? Well, when I go to say back, because the k is voiceless, on the way to the k, my voicing for the vowel stops, so it doesn't get distorted. Back, 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 pack, right? But on the way to the G, because there's no stopping in voicing, the vowel is distorted by the mouth shape that the back of my tongue makes to make the G sound. The G is voiced. So k is a voiceless velar sound. G is a voiced velar sound. They're in the same place of articulation, same manner of articulation, just one is voiced and one isn't. So that's why we mutate bag. So if you're from Ontario, if you're from Quebec, if you're from Vancouver, you might say bag differently. It might sound more like the word vague. Bag, can I get a bag? You might hear people say the vowel, trying to do the vowel all the way to the end, like ESL speakers all hear like, would you like a bag? Bag? So it's like people are trying to make this sound without distorting it, but the distortion of the sound is just like a physical process that has happened. This is how language changes over time. Often there's a physical process happening in the mouth that kind of over time, it's like attrition, like water or wind kind of shaping rocks, this process of attrition. I have a good example of, so if I were to go say attitude, in English, North American English, I'm saying tude, right? Tude. So I'm not saying it like attitude, like a British person. So that tude, over time, when we came to North America, English went tude, or eventually it went tude. We're not doing this for all these yod sounds, this yod dropping. And then, people who stayed, like the language staying in England would have morphed over time for the T and the U to kind of sound like a CH. And that's why you hear tube and train for British people, like, oh, that's a nice tune, or I'm going to take the tube. It's because the T and the U over time have made a process of attrition where they're smushing together and it kind of makes a new sound. We have this in North American English with STR clusters, right? We say straight, strong sometimes. So I'm getting ahead to the TR and I'm kind of like making a sh sound with my s because it's easier to get to the sound that way. So this is a process of phonological change over time. So how do we make this sound? What are the specifics of making this sound? So it's low, it's front, it's unrounded. So what are we going to do with our mouths? Where is the tension in the cheeks? Let's just analyze this a vowel for a bit. So when I do the a vowel on its own, you'll see that my corners of my mouth pull up a bit, and you'll see my tongue pushing forward. And if I have light reflecting off the back of my tongue, you can see that, right? So I'm pushing my tongue forward like this. The front of the tongue is on the floor of the mouth. The back of the tongue is raising up, and there's a bit of tension here. And then there's a bit of corner pulling on the sides here. But what this vowel most often gets confused with is the vowel. So I hear people mixing up bat and bet, for instance, or hat or had and head, for instance. So for this vowel, for the e vowel, to differentiate between the ash vowel and the e vowel, it's going to be in the corners of my mouth. So for a, you're seeing this shape, right? Kind of like a samosa or something, like okay? So for e, you're going to see my mouth corners pulled like this, and my tongue is a little bit lower, see? So it's not pushing up. Now I'm going to go back and forth between them so you can get a good look of what it looks like. Okay, so now we know the difference between a and eh. But what about the difference between a and other types of a sounds? So the ah sound that we have, this low back unrounded vowel, is what we use in water or call. Ah. Now, this sound doesn't exist in French or a lot of other languages, so you're going to find your jaw is a lot lower than you're used to. So ah, you see this? So in speech, in regular speech, it's not going to come down this far, but to reach the full expression of the vowel, or if you were kind of stressing the vowel to prove a point, that's how long that sound would last. So the difference between a and ah is a is at the front and ah is at the back. And what this means is the part of your tongue that's resonating, producing the sound waves and causing these sound waves that work together. Some of them cancel each other out, and then they come out. And the shaping of these sound waves, these formants, is what leads to, or what leads to the difference, or what lead to the difference between vowel sounds, formants. So ah, ah. Now, it might look like my mouth is rounded for ah, but that's just because mouths are naturally round. So I'm actually not rounding my mouth for ah. We don't have this sound in English. If I were rounding my mouth for ah, I would start to sound like a British person, right? Old, coal. I'm going to coal. So when we say oh with this rounding, it doesn't sound like regular North American English. So here's another differentiation. Now we have a sound. So this is the phonetic symbol with just the regular a. So the one we just talked about, that ah, is like just the round a with a little thing. This is like just the regular shaped a, like half of the ash symbol basically. So for this a sound, not all dialects of English are actually using the differentiation between a and ah. But if I were from Chicago, I would be using this ah, like box and mom. Like I'm saying box and mom instead of box and mom. And that is a different vowel sound. So they're achieving the same goal. Those two vowel sounds is just one is shifted. So it's not like it's a different meaningful sound. It's like Chicago uses that a sound like that, and that's that. Consequently, the rest of the vowels are shifted as well. Like, I'm sorry, there's a terrible Chicago accent. I'm not a dialect coach. I'm an accent coach. There's a big difference. So this mom only, like this box kind of vowel, it only exists if you're not using the ah vowel. So they do different jobs. So in this formant space, like let's just kind of visualize like sound waves. In this formant space, the vowels have to be distinct enough that they don't overlap, because that would cause confusion. And you would say, oh, are you saying box or box? Like it's the same. So this vowel differentiation is achieved literally through the shaping of your mouth muscles, your tongue, your lips, like rounding, tension, frontness, backness, height. So all of the little changes that you might make in your mouth can lead to different sound changes. And we don't always do these type of motions in the exact same way. No two speech utterances are exactly alike. It's just not possible. But we have this kind of in the sound wave, in the space of sound wave, sound frequency, we have this kind of place where we're expecting them to hang together. And that's not about absolute sound waves. That is about like relative sound waves within one's own accent. So that's why you can understand someone from Chicago when they start using that ah sound, as opposed to if you were throwing that ah sound in with like a BC, like a Vancouver accent, it wouldn't really fit. So as long as the sound is like part of the broader context of the accent, it should make sense. So have we differentiated a enough from the other nearby vowels? A from eh, a from ah. It's hard to do both of them. A from box, like backs from box, and box from backs, becks. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to let me know. But basically the take-home message is your mouth will distort sounds on the way to other sounds. And this is literally the process, like phonological change is caused by this physical speech movements that blend together over time. Interesting, huh? Well, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.